Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to War 9 of Season 38. Today I have Kitty, Miles and Titania, so really looking forward to this one. So starting off with this Kingpin, and then the Mephisto, then the Nick, then moving on to Section 2, Terrax, Mojo, Guardian, and then finishing off with Knull. So starting off with the Kingpin, game plan here is parry 3 times at the start, gonna get my prowess, and then I'll be pretty safe. I have put on mutant power boosters for the Nick fight, so what I'm going to do is try and get to 20 prowess, use an SP2, if it finishes off great, if not, just play it safe and finish off the fight. Nodes don't really do anything here, it's just placebo buffs, which obviously don't affect this fight at all. Kitty's great for Kingpin obviously, because you don't need to rely on parries or get affected very much by his debuff shrug at all. So here he just dashes back out of my dash, I parry it, he shrugs it off and then goes for a heavy straight away, which I have to dex out of. A little bit of a quick moment in the fight that could have started off very badly, but we're back on track now. Prowess is building up very nicely, he's playing into all my intercepts. Just going to bait out this SP1 and then I'll go for my SP2. Some nice crits at the end there, taking him down really low. Just going to bait this special one out. Then use my SP2 just to be safe. And that finishes out the fight. Next up for this Mephisto, I wasn't really sure how the placebo buff would work here. If you use the same attack twice in a row, then you get the placebo buff, and I didn't want to deal with that because I'm just going to assume he's running 5 out of 5 ND. So I wasn't sure whether it triggered on block, so if I did 2 mediums or 2 lights into block, whether it would trigger. So at the start of the fight I'm a little cautious, just trying to get into the rhythm of the fight, figure out exactly what I'm going to be dealing with. I know that Kitty can phase his SP3 if needed, but I'm going to be baiting out SP1s when possible. And obviously I won't be using any specials because I don't want to knock him down due to conduit, and I don't want to use my SP3 during the fight because I don't want to apply a passive incinerate which will pretty much permanently have conduit up. So as you can see, I'm kind of playing a little bit safe. I think at this point I've noticed that block hits don't trigger it, so I'm just baiting out this SP1. And I'll be just doing medium light just so that I don't trigger placebos at all if possible. And because I'm being a little bit cautious, I'm not going for the intercepts just yet. As I said, it's not a fight I'm too familiar with. I'm fairly new to Kitty. I've only ranked for her in the last few weeks, so at this point I'm a little bit more into the fight, so I'm going to go for my intercepts. If he throws his SP1 into it, that's fine, it's a nice chunk of damage, and I still have 2 prowess left, which just means that I need to get 1 parry or 1 crit off after. Fight's going a lot smoother now. Just going to bait out this special. Bait out this special, then I'll go for SP3. And that's more than enough to finish off the fight because his aura of incinerate has been ramping up my prowess the whole time, and that was pretty smooth. Now for the fight that I have the mutant power boosters for. I've had Odin pre-fights placed here just so that I don't have to worry about the shock phase at all. Just means that parrying can be a little harder and your prowess gain from stunning an opponent can actually be cancelled out. So just have to be careful of that. My plan is to go to an SP2 with 20 prowess, use it, and that will give me a fair bit of power back. It won't push him into second life, and it means that I just have the tail end of his first life to gain some more prowess so that I'm safe going into second life. And then from there, just hold on to my specials, finish out the fight safely. So I'm just building up my prowess, doing a couple of intercepts. He throws this SP1, I just take it on block because I want to go back in. Going for more intercepts. He dexes out of that one and then hits me, but the miss counter saves me, up to my 20 prowess. Throw my SP2, does a nice chunk of damage, 2 crits at the end. He's got about 30% life left, and I'm in a good position to build up my prowess again. And like I said, just going to hold on to my specials. I know that one miss counter would save me if he throws an SP1 here, so I'm just going back in, and then I can dash forward and eat it into my miss counter. Just going for my intercepts again. Using SP1s. Health is looking fantastic. The willpower from the disorients and the shocks is really helping there. I'm keeping his prowess under control so that even if I did get hit, it's alright. Just about to push him into second life here. So now he's got the Fury, things can get a little dicey, but I'm just going to play it safe, bait out this special and let him tick down a bit. I've got my 20 prowess to help me phase and keep safe. I'm not going for those intercepts right now. I just want to push him to SP2 so I don't have to deal with the SP1. He's almost done ticking out from the degen. He's unblockable at the moment, so I'm a little bit scared. Just want to make sure that I get a nice intercept out, and there we go. Here I just dash into the SP1 when the tactical charges take him out of being a miss counter, and it means that it consumes some of my prowess. I decided to block a little bit, which is good because then I end up with 5 prowess, so I can still phase. I've just got 10% left. I probably should have used an SP3 here, but I know that a couple more combos would have finished it anyway. But yeah, that's a really safe fight and ending on 100% health, so really happy with how Kitty did there. Next up, we're going to have a little bit of a Titania showcase. I'm taking these next 4 fights with her, and starting off with this buffet overtime Terrax. So he is conduit, so I'm not going to be knocking him down. The buffet just isn't an issue. Titania's buff immune, and because it's only a rank 3, and because I'm heavily boosted, and because he's a large defender and Titania gets a 30% attack bonus against them, I'm not even really thinking that I'll need the SP3. Titania hits really hard just on her basic attacks. So we're going to start off the fight by parrying and doing a few light hits, triggering Haymaker just to eat up a little bit of that rock damage, and then just dashing back, holding block and using that unstoppable for an intercept. His rock field's over, and I've eaten a little bit of damage, but it's nothing too bad. Suppression is nice to keep yourself aggressive without having to bait out too many specials. Just going to trigger Haymaker here. If he wants to throw a special, that's fine. If not, I know that I've got the range to finish off this fight in the next couple of combos. So that's a pretty quick, makes pretty quick work of that. Next up on this Mojo. So this is a little bit of an Archangel or negative trap. Negative does work for it, but you have to be on point with not knocking him down too much. Titania obviously cancels it all by being buff immune. Makes it just a pretty straightforward fight. So I'm going to trigger my Haymaker right away, use it to push him over a bar of power. If he wants to throw a special, that's fine, it just hits me and then I can dex out the rest of it, but if he hadn't, I'd have been able to carry on hitting him. Just leaving him open to see if he wants to throw a special. He doesn't. I see that my Haymaker's almost back, so I'm just going to trigger it. Delay a little bit to see if he wants to throw a special. If not, I'll throw mine and it finishes him off. Next up is an EMP mod Guardian. So I was a little bit, not worried, but hesitant about this fight because of willpower and because this conduit defender isn't shock immune, so I can't even knock him down once. So my plan is basically just deal with the willpower. I'll be able to overpower it. It just means it'll be a little bit of a longer fight. I'll go to my SP3, not knock him down afterwards, and just carry on comboing. So with that preparation in mind, I go in, parry, start hitting him, and notice that there's no willpower, which makes this fight a lot simpler. So I trigger my Haymaker here, and just to bait out a special, I let him just hit me. I just stand there and he throws his special. Obviously don't do that against someone who will apply effects or make the fight go badly just on basic hits. But it's a nice way to bait out some specials. Here, got my Haymaker back just in time for his SP2, dash forward, take it all in the indestructible, bait out a heavy, and then I'm just going to throw this SP3. So again, because of Conduit, I'm not going to do any heavies afterwards and double my debuffs, but it's a nice chunk of damage. I get some more Furies, and I can go in, use my Haymaker, and just pummel him. And then the fight is over. So we usually take this Mangog with a Mr. Fantastic, but we were up on deaths this war, and I've been wanting to take this fight all season, so I finally got to take my white whale of a matchup. I'm going to be taking it with Titania, and unfortunately I play it probably just wrong. I would do it very differently if I went back in. So I don't actually notice that we had the Mr. Fantastic pre-fights in, so I was going in thinking I didn't have them, and as a result I just make a bit of an error, and well, you'll see. So I'm just doing my light attacks. I can see them fantastic debuffs there. I should have heavied there to keep them up, or just let them fall off. But here, I notice they're about to fall off, so I throw my SP1. It doesn't even refresh them, and I've used it outside of Haymaker cooldown, so I don't even get the benefit of the extra debuffs. But, you know, progress is good. The damage is really high. This is a rank 4-man thing. I throw my heavy just to get the stagger up, so that when he throws his next special, he won't be unstoppable. Do a 5-hit combo to push him to the amount of rage needed. I'm just going to save my Haymaker here because I want to be able to tank the SP2. If he throws SP1, that's fine. So I throw my SP2 here, and then I charge heavy right away to tank the SP2. And it steals enough power to push him almost back to an SP2. I hold block, and he throws it anyway. Luckily I had the weaknesses up, which really reduced the damage, but I was not expecting that amount of power gain. Just throwing my SP1 there to keep the Haymaker back. I know that I can't really afford another SP2 because of the power gain, so I have to push him to SP3 here. Just using my special to waste some time while he gains power. And then I'm going to end this combo in a medium, which triggers Haymaker. If he throws SP3, great, I'll tank it. He doesn't, and I see that the amount of damage that I'm doing and the amount of health he has left, I can probably just finish this fight out. So I go back in for a combo and an SP1, and that finishes it off. So in future, I would definitely just push him to SP3. And I don't think I'd use any of my specials because the amount of time of Haymaker and the amount of debuffs I'm applying, I can easily get back to a Haymaker using only basic attacks in between one of his SP2s or his SP3s. So that means that I would just hold on to my power, go to SP3, and then use that if needed to tank while Haymaker's on cooldown. Overall, it could really be a safe fight. I would probably say Spidey 99 and Mr. Fantastic are safer, but I'm glad to know that she can do it, and hopefully I do get another chance to take that fight in future. And next up, there is another Knull. Honestly, after this season, I never really want to see Miles again. I love him, and I think he's great, but this fight is all I've been using him for the past 4 weeks, it feels like. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to not having to use him. I feel like at this point you could probably just recite what I'm going to say by memory, but one thing I am doing here actually is I'm just using the same trick that I use for Valkyrie by dashing back when he dashes back to make him hold block, and I'm just going to be hitting into him to try and build him to SP1. I guess it's just a little showcase of being able to use that trick for other fights or other situations where you might need it around the the different modes in the game and the different matchups. But yeah, this fight's under control again. We've got our camo up. Null's unblockable. The corruption's on me, so the debuffs are paused. Starting to get my furies and the ruptures ticking him down. Nice damage off the heavies. I'm going to use my SP2 a little earlier this time, just whenever I see that I've got 2 furies and there's an opening. So I just beta heavy here, go for my SP2, and I just get it in between the window of the 2 furies, which is nice. I did also have science power back boosters for that previous Mangog fight, and that means that it gives me just enough power so that throughout this fight I can just about get to another SP2. Because obviously when you're fighting Knull and your combo goes up without using specials as often, he applies those passives just on the top row. It's the 4 that's just gone to a 5 icon with a little Knull symbol on it, and that reduces your combat power rate. I think it maxes out at 8 and then you don't get any more power. But this fight's going very smoothly, still 100% health, nothing's gone wrong at the moment. And almost back up to another SP2. Because he's so low, I'm not going to worry about doing it on 2 furies. Just going to bait out this special, go in, and let him whiff. Bait out this special, go in, and finish him off with this SP2 and a couple more heavies. So again, the shock just ticks him out, and again it's a really smooth fight, no damage taken this time, which is nice to see. And that concludes this war. So we won this one, which was great. And as we're coming to the end of the season, we're in a really strong position, which is fantastic. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.